Hi, it's Kai, and today we have an empties video because my empties bucket is completely overflowing. And yes, I do have a new empties bucket because the one that I originally was using was fabric. And if you've watched one of my new Get Ready With Me's or like my most recent life update Get Ready With Me, you would know that fabric things haven't been great. Like I just have, it's been a lot. But anyway, I have a new bin to put all of my empties in and it's quite full. So we are just going to stop the chatter and get into this because I know it's going to be a super long video. Go ahead and get something to drink, get a snack. I have my little canister of water right here, so I will be drinking along with you. I just have one of those little Mio. I'm trying out their new magnesium ones. They're supposed to be unwinding for like the end of the day and going to bed and stuff like that. And even though it's still light out, it is getting toward the end of the day when I'm filming this. And I also felt like magnesium would also maybe calm my mind because I've had so much trouble with filming recently and just feeling like all of my words are garbled and nothing is coming out the way that I want it to. So anyway, we're stopping the chatter and getting into it. Let me know what you're eating or drinking while you're watching this monster of the video. As per usual, we're going to start off with the lifestyle items, which are mainly my laundry items. The first thing that I finished is this Ariel with Downy, or Ariel with Downy. Ariel is basically the Hispanic version of Tide, and in my opinion, it smells better than Tide. Like I got Tide because it was on sale and I had some coupons this last time that I was buying laundry soap. And if I'm being completely honest, I love the way that the Ariel smells so much better. Even the regular kind or the kind with Oxy and this one, they all smell better than regular Tide. So I don't really know what it is. I think it's like better quality as far as the smell goes. And I don't really notice any difference in the quality of my garments getting washed, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not washing super soiled stuff though. But also given that a lot of Hispanic people are working the manual labor jobs that are getting down and dirty because of the fact that a lot of us privileged Americans don't want to be the ones to do some of those jobs. Every Hispanic person that I've ever known has smelled amazing. Their laundry always smells good. So again, I'm not really sure if like the regular Tide is actually better than Ariel, but I like the Ariel better. I feel like it smells better. It sticks on the clothes. This one is like a clean, but also kind of light floral powdery scent. And when I am done with the laundry detergent that I have, barring any really good promotions and coupons, I'll probably just go back to this. I also feel like powder laundry detergent lasts so much longer than liquid. That's not even the biggest bag of Ariel that you can get. And I feel like that lasted me like 4 or 5 months even. And to be fair, I've had other laundry detergents and laundry products that I've used interchangeably because I'm always trying new things. I love laundry products as much as I love perfume and beauty products. Overall, powder products, powder laundry detergent, even with dish detergent or like the, what is that, dishwasher soap, I've noticed that the powder dishwasher soap actually lasts a lot longer while still giving my clothes the same level of clean. So especially in right now's economy where people are trying to save where they can, it might be worth it to look into powder products to replace some of your liquids in those areas. Speaking of powder products, I finished one of these OxyClean stain remover, laundry boosters. We all know what OxyClean is. It helps with whitening your whites, brightening your colors, and helping really get any stains out and just like boosting your laundry detergent. I always put, a little scoop in every single one of my loads, and it's just been something that I feel like helps my laundry, again, along with the smell, getting them cleaner, stains getting out, all of that type of stuff. I've talked about that over and over again, so I feel like I don't need to go ad nauseum about how a laundry booster helps boost your other laundry products and makes them work better, but that's what they do. The only thing about that is I never see that super big tub except at stores like Walmart and Target, and I'm trying not to buy at those stores as much as I possibly can, but it's just so much more cost effective to get that big box that again lasts a really long time than to get these smaller ones that are at Kroger and Aldi and stuff like that. That is the only downside downside. Sometimes I wish every size of every product was available everywhere, but I know that's not, you know, capitalistically minded and profit minded and profit driven, whatever. I finished one of the small Lysol laundry sanitizers. This is the crisp linen scent. It's just one of those classic clean, very fresh linen type of scents. It smells really good. I like putting this in my laundry to sanitize my laundry, but I also find that if I forget my laundry overnight or for a long period of time, or not a super extended period of time, obviously if you leave your clothes in there for weeks and weeks, this might not work completely effectively. But if you're like me and you tend to leave your clothes or forget your clothes overnight, if you put some of this in, you won't end up with that mildewy smell in your clothes and you won't have to rewash them. So highly recommend this for my ADHD and forgetful people. And I also just really like it for my towels because I feel like in addition to everything else I use in my laundry routine, it helps things get clean and like smell clean and not have any film residue or mustiness left over in it. Another thing that kind of works similarly to that is the Tide Clean Boost Fabric Rinse. This just isn't antibacterial in any way, but it's also a liquid fabric rinse. This has more of that classic Tide scent, which I like personally, the classic Tide scent more than I like pretty much any of the, you know, like Tide, except for Tide with Downy. Tide with Downy, and honestly the Tide Sport one is really good, but the regular Tide scent is just kind of like, oh, it's okay. And then the Tide Oxy, which is the one that I'm currently using, that honestly smells like ginger ale to me. So I'm not a really big fan of it. I won't be repurchasing that one specifically ever again, even if I do have a coupon for it. But the original Tide scent isn't necessarily my favorite Tide scent, but I do like it better than some of the ones that I've tried. And I feel like even with that Oxy one, that I liked it better when I had this laundry rinse paired with it, you know? So while this isn't a necessary, it's definitely one that, again, I had a coupon and was just like, oh, if I get to a certain amount, in addition to the manufacturer's coupons that I have, if I get to a certain amount, I get a discount, so I might as well. That's the main reason that I use it, because again, it's not something that's necessary, and I know that we're all trying to pinch pennies where we can. If it's on sale, I do like to dabble in it because it does just upgrade my laundry routine a little bit. I finished 2 of the Arm & Hammer Clean Sensations Cool Woods in-wash scent boosters. I don't know why that is giving me such a tongue tie, but I really like this scent. It's a very fresh, aromatic, and powdery floral type of scent. The only thing that I don't like, and I feel like I'm noticing it increasingly more every time I buy a new bottle and every time I use these, is that I just don't feel like the scent really lasts on the clothes at all. I really wish that this one in particular smelled stronger left over on the clothes, especially if you run them through the dryer. I feel like their fresh botanics and their fresh burst versions of these do last through a dryer cycle, but for some reason these are not. And for that reason, like, while I really like the scent, because it's not really doing what I want it to do, which is to leave some scent on my clothes, I might stop purchasing these. I have one more bottle, and honestly, I really have liked purchasing these because they're a little bit more affordable, and there are always buy one get one free coupons or deals being run at like Publix and Kroger and stuff like that. So it does feel like such a good deal. But again, why buy something if it's not really working for its purpose, instead of me saving money by being able to buy more of them for cheaper than if I just bought, say, the Downy Unstoppables. But if I'm paying for something that's really not doing its job or not working the way that it's intended or the way that I really want it to, am I actually saving money, or am I just spending money for something that I could cut out or could just get another version that I like better? I'm also really curious because I went into a Bath and Body Works recently that had one of these. I was a little bit curious about their laundry products, specifically the scent boosters. I don't know if I would use their laundry detergent on its own. I feel like I would need to use it in conjunction with something else because I just don't trust, and I also haven't heard that it's very great at like actually cleaning your clothes clothes. Again, if you have a lot of delicates or clothes that don't get very soiled, it might be fine, but as far as a general clean, I've heard it's not great. You know, sun-drenched linen, that was one of my favorite home Bath and Body Works scents. So to have that in like a laundry detergent, which I had been dreaming for like ever, again, I'm very curious, but I'm also just kind of like, you can just try some of the other scents that are in the store when you go grocery shopping. I also tried the Snuggle scent beads for the first time. I've tried the packs before, but they don't sell those scent packs everywhere. These are more like the scent beads that are the little crystal texture. And again, this has that kind of classic Snuggle, very fresh, clean, slightly florally type of scent to it. It smells really good. It's one that, again, I do find doesn't last on the clothes and doesn't smell quite as potent on the clothes as I would like it to, but it wasn't terrible. And if I had another coupon for it, I would probably purchase it again. Lastly is essentially perfume for your floor. I really like using the Pet Fresh Carpet Odor Eliminator every once in a while on my floors because it just kind of gives my apartment a good reset. It's nice when I am just like, let me open up all of the windows, get some fresh air circulating in here, dust really nice and good, vacuum up really good, you know, just really do a kind of full reset of my apartment. It's really good for giving the apartment that kind of like fresh, clean smell. They have other scents in particular that I think I like more than this one. I don't know what it is. It just kind of reminds me of going into like an older person's house. Like it smells good, but there's definitely something vintage smelling about it. So I do like their one. It's in a green packaging or has like a green type of, you know, imagery on the front of it. I like that one because it's a little bit more florally, and I don't use this all the time. This lasted me for over a year and a half or so, maybe even more than that, just because I don't use it all the time, but it's nice to spruce things up every once in a while. Just make sure you have a really good vacuum cleaner, like one that's actually going to suck it up. If you have one of these small like cordless or like stick ones that aren't super suctiony, then this will probably get left over in your carpet, and I don't think that's something that you really want long term. To each their own. In other lifestyle items, I have Florida water. As I've said before, if you know, you know. If you don't, then you probably just don't need to, or you're not in a position where you have stumbled upon needing to know what this is for, but I just use it for cleansing my house in various ways. I've got two sunscreens, one I actually finished and another one that I am decluttering. The first one that I actually finished is this Banana Boat Sport Ultra 50 SPF plus, or broad spectrum SPF 50 plus, clinically proven superior endurance versus sweat and water, you know, sunscreen. This is spray sunscreen. It's good. It smells like classic kind of banana boat coconut sunscreen type of scent to it, but it's honestly a pretty light scent. Like I've put this on top of me after I've put perfume on before, and I could still smell my perfume. It was mixing in with the scent of this, but I could still smell the perfume. I think it does what it's supposed to do. As long as I actually reapply it, I don't experience myself burning or even tanning or anything like that. Honestly, this weekend I did not reapply my sunscreen because I had already ran out of that and didn't replace it in my car. So I did get a little bit toasty over the weekend. I took a really long walk, but it is what it is. Put on your sunscreen, kids. The other one that I did not finish is this Coppertone Sport Stays On Strong When You Sweat. This is expired, and I started a series over on my TikTok where I am decluttering my house using the Fibonacci sequence. So like the first day I'm decluttering one thing, the second day I'm decluttering two, the third day I'm decluttering three, and then the fourth day would be five because 3 plus 2 is 5. So, you know, so on and so forth until I really declutter some of the extra just stuff I have in my apartment, because I have so many things like this where it's like, it's something like sunscreen where you really shouldn't be using it if it's expired. It's not effective or as effective if it's expired, but for whatever reason I just haven't thrown it out. I can't tell you, outside of having ADHD and OCD brain that essentially makes you a hoarder. Again, it does what it needs to do, but I think I just purchased this at a time where I wasn't doing sun care all over my body. Like I was doing sunscreen on my face and had specific sunscreens for my face, but I wasn't really taking care of the skin on my body as much as I am now. And, you know, it just expired before I could actually finish it. So this one is going to be trashed, not technically an empty, but I am getting rid of it. Another one that straddles the line of skincare and makeup and is another one that I'm getting rid of even though it's not quite empty is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream Broad SPF 30. This is the shade Chestnut, and this shade has always been a little bit deep for me, but this shade lighter, the shade 08, I don't know what the name of that was, but I remember trying it in store and that one was too light because this is a mineral sunscreen, I believe. Yeah, it's a mineral sunscreen. So sometimes the shade can appear a little bit more lighter on the skin because it has that white pigment in it. So I went up a shade and this was just too deep and way too red for my skin, and therefore I never really wore it. It also has this gel cream texture that admittedly worked the best with hands and didn't really work that well with a brush or a sponge. A sponge just kind of soaked up all of the product, and then a brush left a lot of streaks, and I don't love using my hands or makeup with my hands. I don't like applying foundation and stuff like that with my hands if I can help it. So I just ended up never using this, never reaching for it, and taking it from apartment to apartment. I've literally had this since I was in undergrad. I'm pretty sure I've had it since 2017 if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, almost 10 years, 2 years shy of 10 years. So it's definitely time for this to go. This is long bad, but again, I probably wouldn't repurchase this because I don't feel like there's really a shade out there that is for me, and I also don't love the texture of it. If I could compare it to the texture of anything that's more recent that I've tried, it kind of reminds me of the Say Slip Tint. I had a little sample of that I tried, and that one's almost a little too gel-like for me. It again leaves a lot of streaks. It's a lot better blending it in with your hands, but that's not my preferred way of blending in my foundation or any pigmented makeup products. Might as well talk about more sunscreen. I finished the Dear Cloud Tone Blur Essence Sunscreen. This is SPF 50 plus, and it has cica and aloe, and I actually really enjoyed this. I think in my previous or last Empties video, I talked about the Dear Cloud Stick sunscreen, and I expressed how I didn't really love that one. I felt like it was a little bit greasy. This one is the opposite, maybe not the complete opposite of that, but definitely isn't too greasy. It sinks into the skin a little bit better while still giving your skin a nice hydrated, plump look to it. It doesn't feel too greasy or anything. It truly feels like a light lotiony type of texture in my opinion. So this is definitely one that I would repurchase. I think it's a really good one if you're looking for something that isn't going to leave you quite as dewy and glowy, because unfortunately I feel like a lot of the chemical sunscreens, which this is a chemical sunscreen by the way, I feel like a lot of the chemical sunscreens are really glowy, and I don't know if that is just by nature of the ingredients that have to go into a chemical sunscreen to make it effective, or if that's just what every brand is choosing to do with their sunscreen. Either way, this one is a good one that still makes your skin look healthy and hydrated without being super greasy or oily looking on the skin. I finished another Hybrid Cleanse. I like using this mainly for herpes outbreaks if I have them, but honestly I haven't really been having a lot of them, and I've more so been using these on the scratches that my cats have been giving me, because despite me cutting their nails as much as I possibly can, they just find a way to grow them in 2 seconds and scratch me. And even if I tried to like play with wand toys or certain things in a far enough distance away, they are a little bit crazy. If it wasn't for the fact that I know they're domesticated and they like use the litter box and interact with people and other cat and all of that, I would think when a toy comes out that these are feral cats. They just get a little bit too invested in playing. So I use this when I have any cuts and scrapes. Also, if I'm skating and happen to get scraped up or something like that, this is just good for, you know, being a antibacterial cleanser, making sure that I don't get cat scratch fever or or anything like that, and that everything heals up all nice. So again, a good product to use if you have something like that, but you don't want to be using an antibacterial soap or an antimicrobial, antiseptic soap like all the time as your regular hand soap, because that's what contributes to antibiotic resistance. I finished the Humble baking soda free Palo Santo and frankincense deodorant, and I really like the Humble deodorants. I talked about the rose, I think it's Moroccan rose one, in a previous Empties video. I do like the scent of the Moroccan rose better than this one. It's definitely kind of that like smoky incensey, but like really aromatically incensey, like almost camphorous. It can kind of feel. So I don't think this is something for everyone, and it's not something that after I've applied it, I really smell it underneath my armpits. Part of the experience of a deodorant or a lot of our body care products is the scent, so you want it to be one that you enjoy. It's nice and clean, but again, not something that I think I would repurchase for myself. I want to try some of their other scents. But despite this being a vegan, aluminum-free deodorant, I find that it really does control odor well. It has a little bit more of that traditional kind of powdery deodorant texture instead of it being really creamy. So I find that when you're sweating, the powderiness kind of helps absorb that sweat and that odor a little bit better. And even once this has worn off, I don't feel like I smell like BO. I just kind of smell stale. Like I feel like everyone kind of knows the progression of their body odor. They know when they smell good, you know, right out the shower, clean skin, all of that. Even if you haven't put any products that are fragranced on, you smell a certain way coming out of the shower than you do coming back from a day of work where you maybe weren't sweating necessarily, you might not have been doing any strenuous activity, but you've been out and about, your body's been in contact with the world, and has just kind of been sitting there all day, and you know that you just kind of smell stale. And then you have BO, which is like, I smell really bad. In my personal BO journey, I smell like a Subway sandwich, like onions, garlic, and all. Maybe because my personal diet has a lot of onions and garlic and stuff. I love pasta and things like that. So that could be it. Your diet definitely impacts what your BO smells like, but everyone knows their own personal progression. In this deodorant, helps me just kind of be at the stale progression of things. Another one that I ended up enjoying is the First Aid Beauty Whole Body Deodorant Cream. This is the fresh citrus scent, which admittedly is a very light kind of herbaceous citrus scent. It's not something that I think most people will traditionally think when they see citrus or hear citrus or read citrus, but it's not a bad scent. Some people, it's a little bit too herbaceous for them though. This is a cream that you can squeeze out on your hands, and again, that's normally something that would kind of alarm me a little bit, but this truly feels like a lotion texture. There are a lot of other cream deodorants that either are a serum, which I like those types, or they are like a really creamy, almost like paste. And the paste ones can sometimes just feel a little bit heavy underneath the arms, if we're being honest. And this one, instead of being a paste, truly feels like a lotion. So I just like rub it into my underarms. There isn't really a lot of white residue left over or anything. And I really like that I can just kind of wipe the rest of it off onto other parts of my body that could hold a little odor, like in my crevices, you know, my love handles and stuff like that. Those are areas that when you're sweating, they can get a little bit stinkier. It's normal. We all deal with it. But instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to go wash my hands off from this sticky texture, I can just kind of wipe it onto other parts of my body and go along with the rest of my skin routine. I don't know if I would repurchase it as the scent stands, but I think if they came out with another scent that was more up my alley, like a peachy scent or even strawberry, like basically some of the scents that they've come out with their scrub in, I think is what I would really like for these and what I think would be nice. And also, we just don't really see like strawberry except for like Teen Spirit. That is the only deodorant brand or deodorants I can really think of that do some of those more fruity fun scents outside of, you know, like luxury and perfume brands who are also branching into some body care. But again, I like this. I like the formulation of it. It does keep me from smelling. It's again another one that when it wears off, I don't really smell bad. I just kind of smell stale, but I just want a little bit more oomph from the scent of it. Then we have the Future Society Solar Canopy Gentle Body Cleanser. This is a body wash, and Future Society is a fragrance brand. They sent this to me, by the way, but they're a fragrance brand that their whole marketing or thing is around creating scents that potentially capture extinct prehistoric flowers and plants based on, I think, like what their closest relatives would be in current day, and like that whole breakdown of the species and tracking of that, which I think is a really cool idea just because I'm a little bit nerdy. I actually always loved science growing up, and I would always get really high grades in science classes. So when there are brands who kind of add a certain sciencey aspect to it, or just in general brands who add a different aspect to what they're providing, I find that pretty cool. And I find that the, biological aspect of this is pretty cool as well. But this scent Solar Canopy is gorgeous. It is one of those sweet but also tart, and it has a little bit of almost like a pink peppery type of ness to it, and then some muskiness. It smells clean, but it's also fruity and a little bit woody, and I just absolutely love the scent of this. I think I have another one of the body cleansers, and I also have the lotion that I've still been using, and I love pairing this with scents like Delina, that kind of scent category. It's within there, but this is definitely the more tart version of it. It's less sweet, less powdery, maybe a little bit more musky, and a little bit almost to me like cool girl version of it. Even though it still smells really nice and clean, there is a certain type of just punchiness that this one has. As far as the actual formulation of the body wash, I really like that as well. It's not something that feels super stripping to the skin, and a little dot of it goes the longest way. It lathers up so well. I just, again, really like the feeling and the overall experience of using this in the shower. So it's one that, while I don't really need to be buying any more body care products, I've got enough shower gels to last me probably for another 10 years at this point. It's one that I would potentially purchase with my own money. Into skincare, we've got the Peach Slices Snail Rescue, which I've talked about a lot. This is one of my favorite hydrating everyday toners. It doesn't feel sticky on the skin. I know with snail mucin type of products, a lot of people can feel a little stickiness or tackiness to the skin after applying them. This is definitely a little bit thinner, so it doesn't have that sticky tackiness while still providing really nice hydration. So it's one that I've repurchased multiple times, and I'll probably end up repurchasing again. Right now, I'm using the Bioma one. I pretty much switch between this and the Bioma one based on which one is in stock at my local Ulta store. Another consistent repurchase for me is the Cocokind Ceramide Barrier Serum. This is their Big Daddy size. And I've talked a little bit, especially on other platforms, about Cocokind, and I think also in my AAPI month video, that Cocokind is a brand that I respect a lot more because they have demonstrated being able to hear customer feedback and make changes based on that. The Ceramide Barrier Serum I have been purchasing literally since it released years ago. Like, I purchased it from the website when they launched it, so I've been a fan of it ever since. When they launched the bigger bottles, I started just buying the bigger bottles. They last me about 2.5 months, and I just find that they really work for my skin, and I get a lot of compliments on my skin. Not trying to toot my own horn, but I do get a lot of compliments on my skin, and I feel like that is a product that is so consistently in my routine that I have to contribute at least a little portion, or maybe even a little bit more than a little portion, to that product being in my routine. Into the makeup, we surprisingly have a few different makeup products. The first one is a sample. It's the Urban Decay Original Eyeshadow Primer Potion sample that I have. It's good. I feel like in today's day and age, with how much makeup has advanced, that you don't necessarily have to purchase a high-end eyeshadow primer. I do feel like the e.l.f. one, the Milani one, like the lower end ones do just as well as this. But if you're looking to splurge, it is a really good eyeshadow primer. It doesn't make my eyeshadows crease or move around or anything like that. It's an OG for a reason. I do also have the shade Sin, and that's like a silvery, or it has a little bit of a, what is that called? Shimmeriness to it, I guess. I do want to try that out and see how it is as a base to see if I would buy potentially the other shades that they have, you know, the colorful ones, because I feel like those will act more like a liquid eyeshadow or like an eyeshadow base, you know, a MAC paint pot, that type of thing, versus just a blank out eyeshadow primer. But it is a good eyeshadow primer. It's been raved about for years for a reason. I also finished the NYX The Brow Glue Brow Gel, and I've talked about this multiple times because I've repurchased it multiple times. I really like it. It sets my brows, doesn't make them crunchy, doesn't make them turn white or anything, even though right now it would be difficult to tell if many products turned my brows white since they are kind of white by choice right now. Despite how small it is, it lasts a really long time. I really enjoy this and would definitely repurchase. A Project Pan Empty, which is always nice, is the Pixie Beauty, I don't even remember, what is this, Endless Silky Eye Pen in the shade Black Noir. As you can see, there is barely any writing on it. It's down to the bottom and it's so small that I can no longer really like get a good enough grip on it to sharpen it, so I just called it an empty. And I think this is the first time I've finished a pencil liner, and admittedly this was a mini size pencil liner, so it's not like I finished a full big size, but it's the first time I finished a non-mechanical pencil liner, a sharpener one, before it dried out on me. I like this liner because it's a really nice deep black. It's nice and creamy. You have a little bit of time to smudge it out before it starts setting down, but I do notice that if my eyes tear up or I'm sweating or there's just moisture around my eye area that comes in contact with this, that not only can it get a little bit smudgy on my under eye area, but I've actually had it come into like my eye and my tear duct and make my contacts blurry. So I don't like that about this, and that is the main reason I would not repurchase it. I just can't deal with a liner that is going to make my contacts blurry. I wear contacts every single day, so them getting blurry after putting on makeup is just a non-negotiable for me. But if you don't have that issue and you don't generally have issues with your eyes getting smudgy or crying or tearing or things like that, you might end up liking that because it is really nice and creamy. Another Project Pan Empty is the Hailey's Beauty Revive Cream Concealer in the shade Medium Cool, and this has been discontinued. It kind of smells like paint. It kind of has always smelled like paint or paint thinner, but honestly a lot of complexion products do smell like that. I feel like a lot of the ones that don't have, you know, a lot of synthetic fragrance added in to cover that smell smells a little bit more chemically, if you will. And this is an okay concealer. I didn't love the shade on myself. It was a little bit more peachy than what I prefer, which is why I often mixed it in with other concealers, but I just got to the point where my skin was a little bit too pale this winter to mix it in with anything else. So I did start using it on its own, and on its own it was okay, but it was also a product that was really finicky. It didn't work well with just anything across my collection. In particular, I noticed when I used this with the Fenty Beauty loose powder, it would pull up and make my under eyes look really patchy. So even though it's not discontinued, I didn't like this, and because of the formulation, I'm not sure if I would really gravitate towards Hailey's Beauty or Hailey's Beauty. Is that what I said? Hailey's Beauty complexion products. I also finished the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray, which I will not be repurchasing. I didn't really like this as a setting spray. On my skin, it was just way too dewy. It made me look really oily, and I'm a girl who likes some dewiness. This was just way too much. Even with some of my matte products, it was too much, and I often only use this on my face if it was one of my soul-suckingly matte foundations that I was just trying to get a use out of, because I need to get a use out of what I have in my collection every once in a while. Outside of that, anything that's satin matte, natural finish, glowy finish, do not use this lip unless you just really like that look. Some people like this. If you like it, it's fine. For me, it's a little bit too glowy and dewy. The way that I finish this up is by using it to wet my beauty sponge, and that is pretty much it. So again, not one that I would repurchase personally. I feel like the other e.l.f. setting sprays that I've tried, which I think one of them is the Microfine Setting Mist, and then they have another dewy setting spray that is not quite as dewy as that. Those are much better in my opinion. Lastly, we have two lip balms slash lip treatments. The first one is my test tube of the Phytosurgeon's Clear Coast Calm Conditions lip balm. Listen, I scooped it out. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to try to get it to focus. Yeah, you see how I scooped out every little bit of it, and this is the test tube. They sent me another one. Like, I have more of these. I didn't need to scrape this out of the tube that way, but I just did because I really liked this product. It is really nice and moisturizing while still being thin on the lips. It has a little bit more of that plushy type of texture, so it feels, again, just really nice and soft on the lips, and I really like it. Even if I use it at night, it's not like a lip mask where I will still feel it on my lips the next day, but then the next morning, next day, my lips don't feel drier, they don't feel trapped, they don't feel like I immediately need to grab for more lip balm. And the topical Slick Salve is one that I've talked about. I really enjoy this. This is probably at the top of my like lip mask treatment list. I just feel as though it is really nice and nourishing on the lips. I put a coat of it on at night and I still feel it when I wake up the next morning or even the next afternoon sometimes. It just, again, feels really nice and nourishing to me. Some people say that it's a little bit too thick or gloopy or sticky. I feel like it's not sticky if you just don't use a whole big glob of it. It does have a slight minty smell and taste. It's not something that I notice tingling my lips, but I definitely can notice the mint in there. So if you're sensitive to that, you might not want to try this one, but they also do have a colored one that's like a kind of berry shade, acai. I do want that. I just feel like I have so many berry lip balm, lip mask type of products that I don't need to buy one right now, but I do kind of want to try that. And I'm hoping that for the holidays this year, instead of the double pack where they had two of the regular Slick Salves, which I did purchase last year, so I am stocked up on these already, but instead of two of the regular ones, that they do one of this and then one of the acai. Okie dokie, and on into perfumes. I have a Project Pan empty, and it is actually my full-size perfume empty. So this is Salvatore Ferragamo Incanto Shine, and this is a really pretty fruity, musky, clean fragrance. It has a prominent pineapple note that just kind of makes the fragrance smell like you have pineapple juice dripping down your hands on like clean linen or something like that. So it's a really pretty scent, but I just feel as though I have other things in this scent profile that I enjoy just as much, if not more, or that are a little bit more interesting to me. So I wanted to go ahead and finish this one up, and I did. To be fair, it was a really easy one to finish up because I could just spray it on to do anything, to run errands, to go on a date, to go, you know, anywhere. So it is a really easy wear, and I would highly recommend, if you can smell it, always sample before buying. I admittedly blind bought, well, I didn't blind buy it, but I impulse bought it because it was open in TJ Maxx and I could smell where someone had sprayed it on the box and was just like, ooh, that smells really good. And then once I bought it home and compared it to some of what I have, I was like, you probably didn't need to buy that one, but it did bring me some joy. I did like this one and think that if you like fruity, musky fragrances, you should definitely give it a try. And then even my Empties cup is a little bit fuller. I have another Project Pan empty. I just kind of saw how close this one was and resolved to finish it. This is the Skylar Beauty Peach Fields Rollerball perfume, and I really liked peach feels. This is actually the rollerball that I purchased myself before they had started sending me stuff. And I really liked how this was a juicy, woody peach without it being super candied and artificial, and without the woodiness making me smell like pencil shavings or just being too much for me. And while I do have a body mist and a full-size perfume of this still, it is one that is a little bittersweet finishing up because I really enjoyed it. Again, it's the first one that I started talking about with Skylar, and honestly, Skylar was one of the first perfume brands that started sending me PR when I started my perfume talk page. And while I don't support them anymore because I don't feel like our views necessarily align, they'll always have a little special place in my heart, and that's why I've been more so wanting to finish up the fragrances I have from them than to completely just get rid of them or sell them, declutter them, all of that. Next is my little Scentbird vial, which is another brand or company that I don't support because of the views of the owner or, you know, suspicious views. But this is Commodity Paper Minus or Paper Personal, and this is a really good papery skin scent fragrance. I really like it. It kind of has that musky ambroxany type of vibe to it while also having a little bit of papery woodiness. Again, it's just one that's a really easy reach. I liked wearing this for like my skate classes because it's something that made me feel good, made me feel pretty and confident while I was skating, but also wasn't something that was going to choke out the other skaters or attract any of the bugs to me, because now that it's getting warmer out, and especially with all of the rain Georgia has been having, it's like thriving time for a lot of these flies, gnats, mosquitoes, all of the like. So I really enjoy that one. I do want to repurchase, but I want to try the other scent spaces because Commodity is a brand where they have different scent spaces or intensities of their fragrances. So they have the personal, which is supposed to be the lightest of them, and then what is it? Expressive, I think, is kind of the middle of the road one. And then they have their bold strength, which is like the overdose, super bold version of it. So I do want to try the other scent spaces before making a purchase of a full size one in particular. And in general, Commodity is a brand that I really want to get into. I want to get their fragrance discovery set and just kind of delve into them a little bit more because I like what I've smelled from them thus far. As far as samples, I finished my sample of Moon Carnival from Wilhelm Perfumery, and this is a fragrance that is like orange blossom and marshmallow. If you are a person who likes the Killian Love Don't Be Shy type of DNA, again, orange blossom and marshmallow, then I think you'll like this, or I should say white florals and marshmallow, because it's not always orange blossom. But this is definitely one that I would suggest trying if you like that scent profile. This does have a little bit more of a greenness there. It's not like stemmy or grassy, but it does just, again, have a little bit of greenness. So I feel like it's a little more interesting than Killian Love Don't Be Shy and some of the other fragrances I've smelled with this fragrance profile. But I don't know if it's one that I would upgrade to a full size, maybe a travel size, and once I finish some of my other fragrances of a similar scent profile. You can get samples off of Twisted Lily. There's plenty of codes going around. I don't have a code. I keep tagging them whenever I finish a sample or use a sample or whatever, and I'm just like, you can get it off Twisted Lily. I don't have a code, but maybe one day they'll look at this and give me a code. So if you're seeing this and want me to have a Twisted Lily perfume code so that you can sample stuff and get a discount when you do sample and buy stuff from Twisted Lily, then I would say just go over and say like, Kai really wants to be on Twisted Lily's like radar, and she would love if you gave her channel a look. Anywho, another one that I finished is Way Rue Saint Honoré. Again, the French always gets me, but Way Rue Saint Honoré is a fragrance that I thought was kind of in the Toca, and it is in the Toca Florence type of realm, but it's not as good as Toca Florence. There's something so screechy about this one to me, unfortunately. It doesn't just have that light ethereal quality of Toca Florence. It's like sweet white florals, but there's something in there that almost turns it a little bit sunscreeny, which normally I like, but in here it's just not really jiving with me. It's almost a little bit synthetic, so not one that I would purchase. It's probably my least favorite of all of the Way fragrances. And then we have Dedcool Rocco Mint, which is a fragrance that I like for a little bit more of an unconventional reason. It is a pretty fragrance, another fragrance that is white floral heavy, but it's kind of like a green, even stemmy white floral. And there's something in here with the mint that's in here, you know, aromatic, very bright and uplifting mint that kind of gives it an air of bug spray. And because it has the mint in there, I've actually found that this does kind of work well as a bug spray. I've worn this on walks and hikes and even to skate class and stuff like that. And when I wear this, I don't get bit by anything. When I wear some other fragrances, especially if I wear florals, I'm getting bit up every day, all day. If I wear something that's kind of middle of the road or something that's kind of green, it's a little bit of a 50-50 type of situation. But if I wear this, I literally do not get bit up. I have sprayed this on even my shoes for when I've gone hiking and stuff like that to try to make sure that ticks or fleas or anything that could get on my shoes will stay away. And it's been effective thus far, so don't sleep on having a perfume that can also be a functional, you know, spray. That is one that simply for the fact that it is a bug spray that smells a little bit better than a traditional bug spray, I would repurchase that one. And I do like the scent itself. And lastly, I have the Maker Paradiso sample, which is I believe it's passion fruit, but it's a really juicy, fruity fragrance with a little bit of pepperiness there, and then a patchouli base that is more of a rich and slightly dank patchouli than a super dry patchouli or earthy or even dirty type of patchouli. It would be a good fragrance that if you do dabble in the devilish arts, that it might, you know, kind of not make you smell like you just sprayed something on top of it, but kind of mix in with it and you can be like, oh, that dankness is just my perfume type of thing. Like, it definitely doesn't smell like that, but it's just has that kind of air to it where, again, I think it would mix in with that scent or even body odor a little bit better than some other fragrances would. And I do feel like there are fragrances, as much as we make fun of our younger selves for spraying ourselves down with Bath and Body Works body mist after gym class, there are some fragrances that I do feel like work better for BO, or rather are safer to wear when you have BO versus other fragrances. Anyway, that being said, I don't think this is a full-size repurchase for me, but it's again another one that I could see maybe upgrading to a travel size because it's a really pretty summery tropical fragrance without having the normal tropical coconut vibe to it. Anyway, that is it for the fragrance sample or fragrance empty holder, and that's the end of my empties. I know it was a super long one, and I appreciate anyone who has been here this long. As you can tell, my voice is cracking. I need to drink water, so I'm just going to sign off here. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy wherever you are when you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.